Okay, everybody, welcome back to the Film Cricket channel. It's been a while since we've seen each other. Um, been a little busy, apologize for that, but we are going to do a movie review for you today. Masters of the Universe. Actually, kind of glad that this is one of the ones that's brought us back because He-Man was a big part of my youth. I know it was for a lot of other people. Used to play with He-Man and then Skeletor, had Castle Grayskull, had all the toys. It was yeah, no, it was great. And the thing is that a lot of kids today don't really know He-Man, right? So you had He-Man the cartoon when I was growing up, then moving from that, they did a couple other versions actually of the He-Man cartoon. Not good. He-Man just wasn't He-Man. They did like this space weirdness with it at one point. But you also had the Dolph Lundgren movie that came out, what, in the late 80s, I think, early 90s, sometime in there. I guess late 80s, probably wasn't as late as the 90s, but it too was, we'll say, different. If you remember that one, it took place mostly on Earth, and I know a lot of people had issue with that. The problem being is that, when you go see a He-Man movie, you want to see, He-Man on Eternia, right? You want to see him go to fight Skeletor, do all these things. But that one, I think 87 came out, it didn't do that, right? The problem with it was that, like, and I don't want to spoil the movie, and the review is not about that movie, but um, they get sucked to Earth with this key thing that played music, which was a big deal. They land on like by this chicken place where I think Courtney Cox worked, and then they're trying to get home. There's no Worko. Um, Skeletor shows up. It's just all on Earth, and it really doesn't end. And I think the final battle's at Castle Grayskull. At the time, it wasn't horrible. For a kid, it was cool to see He-Man live action, but it has not aged well. If you want to go watch it, go watch it. I mean, it's maybe worth comparing. This one's a little different. Now, it does take place on Earth for a little bit, like so. And I'm not trying to have a lot of spoilers on this review, but it opens with He-Man as a little kid, and Skeletor attacks, and his mom and dad are kind of fleeing. Man at Arms is fighting. It's a whole big thing, and like I say, he's a little kid. You get to see a little of his training, as a kid. But anyways, they run to Castle Grayskull, and they're able to throw He-Man through a portal to take him back to Earth, which, if you remember the lore, and if you don't know it, then this might be your first time hearing it, but that's where He-Man's mom is from, right? Like, she's from Earth, his dad's from Eternia. So she sends him back to Earth, and then she says, hey, you know what? The sword, the sword of power is your way back home, and don't lose it. And of course, he loses it. And so, we kind of cut to him being an adult, working in human resources, kind of a goof, and he's looking for the sword. And that's kind of where we set up who he is now as an adult. He gets the sword. Of course, when he does, um, Beastman shows up and Tila shows up, and it's a big fight for her to get to him and get him off of the planet Earth before Beastman can. Now he's a little pause here, right? Like, so they use this portal in Castle Grayskull to send him back to Earth, but then she has a spaceship that can do it. I mean, I don't know. It's nitpicky of me, but anyway. So she gets in a spaceship with He-Man, with Prince Adam, and they fly back to Eternia, and that's really where most of the movie takes place. Is back on Eternia, him trying to free the captive people that are there. They try and bring him over to the Resistance, and the Resistance, um, they talk to him about, are you the 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 hero? Are you the guy? The sword. What's the story on the sword? All these things are just kind of happening, and that Resistance is not at Castle Grayskull. That Resistance is at some other place. It really doesn't matter. Skeletor attacks. They fight. He becomes He-Man, and the rest of the movie ensues until such point that they're, of course, fighting at Castle Grayskull. Um, I guess, if you look at it just as a movie, um, some things that we know uh, is I'm sorry, looking at the IMDb stuff, is that let me look here. These people, I don't know these people. Actually, I don't know really any of the actors. We do know Elba and we do know Leto. Those two are pretty well known. I don't know this guy that plays He-Man, Nicholas Galitzine. Okay, he doesn't look like that. Like that's not how he looks in the movie. And this girl who plays Tila doesn't have that dark hair. They like make her more into a redhead, which I guess is a good thing. But largely speaking, like all these people, King Randor, maybe people know these people, right? I don't. And I watch, as you know, quite a few movies, and none of these people were like, oh yeah, I know James Wilkinson. So glad that he's in it. Um, oh yeah, that was cool too. Dolph Lundgren. So you see there, he was in the movie. He does make a cameo. He-Man is on Earth, and he's in the gym, and he's trying to work out, right? And Dolph Lundgren is there, and he kind of like gives like He-Man these pointers about working out and stuff. And again, if you know, you see him, you catch the cameo. It's kind of fun. But yeah, looking at these people, okay, Kristen Wiig, know her. Um, she does the voice for Roboto. That's a little bit weird in that Roboto is kind of actually like a mechanical He-Man type thing. They changed the character a little bit, not so much that it bothered me. Sorceress, I do know her too. That's Inara from Firefly. Yes, she will always be Inara from Firefly. You Deadpool fans can see her as Deadpool's girlfriend. I don't know, but she will always be Inara from Firefly, and so she's the sorceress. Um, but anyways, Evelyn, when they have her in the movie, it's a little bit different because she has blonde hair. Now, my memory of Evelyn is if you never saw her hair as a kid. My memory was she had like that crown thing on, right? Crown thing. Uh, but in this, she has like blonde hair and it's out a lot, and it's kind of weird. And they have like this weird S&M thing going with her, like she likes the pain, and just that was a little odd. The names, Trapjaw, Ram Man, let's see now, Evelyn has Evelyn's name, Roboto, Mechanic, right? Ram Man, I think I might have said, Fisto. That's kind of a running joke, and I'm not sure I like the running joke. So the running joke is that He-Man didn't know their names. He knew them, he remembered them, but he didn't know who they were. And so the running joke is he gave them all these names, right? Like these names of, I'm going to call you Fisto because you have a fist, and Ram Man because you ram things. And they're like, well, that's not our name. Of course, they never really tell you their names in the movie, which it's because their names are Ram Man and Fisto. I mean, look, they were kids' toys. You got to remember, He-Man existed to sell toys. Each weekly cartoon was to sell toys. They wanted to sell a new character. They put him in a new cartoon, or her in a new cartoon, and that helped sell those toys. So names like Ram Man and Fisto and Mechanic, right? They were geared towards the kids that were going to be buying them. I never thought Mechanic was a weird name. I never thought Ram Man was a weird name. Fisto, I definitely didn't think it meant what they were trying to make the joke that it meant in the movie. And so that's kind of off-putting. Um, Something else that's a little off-putting is that they all know who He-Man is. Now, first, let me tell you, in the cartoon, in the opening scroll, as I remember, He-Man's like, the day secret powers were revealed to me, the day I held aloft my magic sword and said the words, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power. And then he goes in to say, um, only three people know my secret. Okay, Man at Arms, the Sorceress, and Orko. And Orko's not in it. He's just not in the movie. I mean, he comes in in a stinger,
post-credit scene. Actually, I think it's a mid-credit scene for him. But Orko's just not in it, and that's a little annoying. I was hoping to see Orko. He's a really good character. They run it kind of like they would with a PSA that they used to do at the end of the cartoon. So again, you gotta remember. So these cartoons that were geared just to sell you toys, um, they were getting in a lot of trouble for this. I said, okay, well, we're gonna make them educational, and that makes them okay because cartoons rot your brain or something. I don't know. So they started putting these public service announcements, right? Like today we saw He-Man fight more than just Skeletor. He fought bulimia. I don't know, something like that, right? So they would do these PSAs. Well, that's how they did one of the post or mid-credit scenes. And it was Orko saying, "Today we saw He-Man, blah blah blah." Like I said, we're a couple weeks in on this movie now, and looking at where we're at on Rotten Tomatoes, if we go back to Master of the Universe 2026, Rotten Tomatoes is sitting at, okay, so 67% on the tomato meter, 86% on the popcorn meter. Um, yeah, I buy that. It's fresh, right? Like it has the little round tomato. It's rated fresh, and the people seem to like it more than the critics. I tend to not, and I know this is going to be a little bit ironic. I tend to not look at critic stuff, like all these people that I'm sure are wonderfully smart people. I don't look at their stuff much. I tend to like to go into it by myself on my own for any movie I go see. I do a lot of times listen to Neurotic, in case you guys don't know. I check out his channel a lot and what they think. And interesting enough, him and his team, and I'm not saying I don't know if they work for him or what, but like when he has all the panels with all the people talking, they were very mixed on this one. I was less mixed myself. In fact, I think he landed in the middle, just in his own mind. For me, I would say I liked it. Right, I got over the those minor things that bothered me. Nothing was too bad about it. Um, like I said, Duncan. Okay, so Man at Arms. They played him up as kind of not really well, kind of a drunk, but kind of washed up because he let the city fall. Right, it didn't bother me. He was black. That didn't bother me. And again, it has nothing to do with him being black. It has to do with the race swap. And I know it's a big deal in Hollywood, the race swaps. They didn't bother me. Um, so those type of things. And part of the reason it didn't bother me too, real quick on Man at Arms, in case you didn't know, Man at Arms is Tila's dad. She's white, he's black. And you might be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know. Tila's adopted, man. That's a really cool story. Tila's actually the sorceress's daughter, and Man at Arms finds her. You don't see it in the movie. You just have to know the lore. Man at Arms finds her and adopts her, right? So, okay, he's black, she's white. Who cares? It didn't bother me that they did that. Now, Skeletor, Jared Leto. Yeah, he didn't do a bad job. I don't think he did a bad job. Um, they do. I think I heard people, and this might have been Nerdrotic and the folks talking about, they're trying to inject some of that Marvel humor. Yeah, kind of. Skeletor has some not really fourth wall breaking, but kind of character breaking stuff that he does. And I get that it's kind of that popular, till we meet again, meme that you see on YouTube and stuff. So maybe they were paying homage to that a little bit. I don't know. I mean, it was a little bit annoying, not overly. When it comes to Battle Cat there in the background, Cringer, when you see him, he's mostly Cringer. He does have some pretty cool Battle Cat moments. I would have loved to have seen more, just like in the cartoon where he holds up the sword, becomes He-Man, and then kind of shoots it over at or Cringer and becomes Battle Cat. Um, that would have been cool to see. I didn't really get that, at least not like you do in the cartoon. Also, uh,
Cringer and Battle Cat are basically different characters. So in the cartoon, Cringer is a coward, and then he gets shot with the sword, and he becomes Battle Cat. And Battle Cat's brave, and Battle Cat's ready to go into battle, and he's ready to do all this stuff. He's still Cringer. He's just with armor. Like, he didn't really change into a new character. And He-Man's the same way. Adam and He-Man are kind of different characters. They in the cartoon, when he becomes He-Man, yeah, he's still Adam, and yeah, he still has the knowledge, and he still has all this stuff. But he's kind of a different person. The voice is different. Um, he's new. He's different. They don't do that here. Adam is He-Man. Adam just gets power. It's still Adam, but with power. I didn't like that. I also didn't like the fact that, like I said, and I said this already earlier, that everybody knows who he is. Like at the end of the movie, they play a joke about it. Like, does he not know that we know? Right? Oh, let him think we don't. That's weird, man. That's weird. So look, I do like the movie. If it's still in theaters where you're at, go see it. I know there's a lot of competition out right now. Toy Story 5 is out. We're gonna do a review on that one. Supergirl, I haven't seen it yet. Heard bad things. I'm gonna go see that one too, and I'll give you my review on it. But at least Masters of the Universe, He-Man. If you can still go see it, I recommend you go see it. Relive your youth if you're the age. I'll tell you, look, one last thing on it. My grandson, he's 3 years old, and we showed him the cartoon. We took him to the movie. He loved it. He now walks around playing He-Man and holding a sword up in the air, saying he has the power. And so, look, if it exposes another generation to this cool IP, and they can enjoy it, take them with you, right? Let them go see it. You get the nostalgia, they get the new stuff, and everybody wins. So, anyway, that's what I have for you today on He-Man. Like always, we're hoping you like, share, subscribe to our videos. I'm gonna try and put more of them out than I have in the past. I had that big long lapse, but I've been really busy. And actually, you know what? I'm using this new software for it, so hopefully it'll be a little bit quicker and I can get these churned. And the new style we're doing, hopefully that helps as well. So anyway, go see Masters of the Universe if it's still in theaters by you. If it's not, wait for it to hit streaming. It's definitely worth it. Is it worth theater money? Yes, it's worth theater money. If you don't make it, it's definitely worth catching it on the streamers. Otherwise, I do appreciate you watching my video. I hope to see you again. And yeah, thanks everybody. Bye bye.